final movie this week was my pick, that being the 2014 film Lucy, which basically is Scarlett Johansson gets fucking drug trafficked by one of her friends to, she gets shanghaied. They put some experimental drug inside of her stomach, which starts to leak, and then slowly, over time, she starts unlocking the full potential of her brain, which basically just turns into like some superhuman psychic demon monster that just goes out, and then she's trying to go and find all the rest of the packets so she can like fully absorb it so nobody else can, and then she turns into a fucking supercomputer and grants extreme knowledge to the human race, I guess, going forward. Although she's everywhere now. She's basically just like techno god going on.
Yeah, she's god.
And of course, also throughout all of this, we've got like the mobs that, you know, put all the stuff in her in the first place, trying to get their, you know, drugs back, but that fails. It doesn't really matter. This movie's fucking weird. Tanner, give us a haiku.
Here's my haiku as inspired by Lucy. Some Breaking Bad meth has ScarJo girl boss too hard. Stock footage montage.
So, I'm gonna make another general statement here. Can we all just agree that this is Black Widow with superhuman abilities?
No.
What?
Dylan, did you love Lucy, though?
I thought this movie was interesting. I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought it was fucking boring.
This movie is an experienced film. Like, I cannot imagine anybody ever watching this again, because it doesn't... The fucking plot for it is pretty thin.
It's
mostly
nothing,
just
actually. I don't understand why this movie was made, quite frankly.
It's literally just... I think somebody had a cool idea, and they're like, let's make it, but they didn't know how to make it work, so they ended up just, like, blowing all their budget, hiring Scarlett Johansson, and they had a bunch of just cool scenes of her doing cool psychic shit. And that was basically it. This movie is fucking boring.
I don't really know what there is to take away from it. I have very little to say, because, like, there's zero tension throughout the entire film. There's not a single moment where you think, oh, could this be a bad situation for her? Do you think she can handle it? Of course she can handle it. She's basically God.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say about this movie, is I like how they give her capabilities beyond the normal human. However, she doesn't go balls... Like, we know what her potential is at any given point in the movie. I just like how she doesn't go balls to the walls. Like, she could obviously handle every situation. Like, when I think it was the end when they were in the library, and she's like, oh, I need to focus, I need you to cover me. I'm like, no, you can literally... You know where all matter is, all living matter. You can suspend people without seeing them. You don't need people to cover you. You probably just need to dedicate one portion of your brain to, like, I don't know, stopping those people from doing what they're doing, like mind control them, and then just use the rest of your brain that you have access to do what you're going to do. I don't know why you need cover.
She could have just killed them all and then done her thing.
Yeah, honestly. And to be fair, when she was like, I need the rest of the drugs, I thought this was going to be like some weird just movie where she's like addicted to these drugs and she needs it to live. But no, I guess I didn't think of the high road standpoint where she doesn't want anybody else to have access to these and like end up dying. That's not something I ended up coming to the conclusion of.
Or you could also interpret it as she's so fucking smart she realizes if she gets more of it, she can, like, fully unlock it or something, and that's why, and that she, like, realized she's gonna die anyway, so might as well, like, get all of it, super load herself, and turn into the fucking supercomputer. That is, your other point, though, about, like, her powers, I would agree with. I think one of the most annoying things with this film is that she is, like, absurdly overpowered from square run, basically. And we see a lot of scenes where they obviously are just doing it for the spectacle of it. Like, when we first see the guy and they're trying to get information about where the other packets are, she could very easily just read his fucking mind, like, knock them all out, read his mind, and just no difficulty at all. But she doesn't. She has to make a big spectacle out of it because it's a movie. And the writers kind of pigeonhole themselves into having to do that because the film would be even more boring than it already is if they didn't. But also, because of that, she's just a poorly written character, because she has no emotions, she has no reason to want to actually do any of this. She could, realistically, she should just be doing the most efficient thing humanly possible, and she goes out of her way to not do that all the fucking time. Which, you know, is a big, you know, confliction with her character, but, you know.
You can also tell that they just kind of started running out of ideas for stuff for her to do by how often they'll just cut to, like, montages of, like, stock footage of, like, animals and landscapes and shit.
I felt like they dropped that pretty early in the movie. I don't remember seeing that after,
like,
the
first... They did
it
a couple times throughout.
Like, the whole ending sequence was that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, there is that. But, I had two instances. Oh, so one instance was, so when she first... Also, so the people, when she was locked up, right? the people that were holding her captive knew she had the drugs in her stomach, right?
Yeah.
Why the fuck was he kicking her in her stomach?
Because he's a dick. I don't think he was really thinking about it too much.
He's a dumb bad guy or some shit.
Okay, and then, in addition, so that leads into this point. That wasn't the original point. Why did she start floating? Was there a reason? Like, I get it was supposed to be like, something's happening to her. She's never had the ability to fly. She never floated at any other point in the movie. Why'd she do it then?
I don't know. I think it was just supposed to represent that she's having, like, some psychic-powered bullshit going on.
Oh,
yeah.
Other than that, there was the part on the plane where she's, like, deconstructing, I guess. And I thought she just had control over matter. Why isn't she... I mean, I guess the only conclusion I can draw is she's running out of the drug or whatever.
Yeah, that was supposed to be, like, the drug was wearing off.
But, like, why would her body... I don't know. Maybe there's things that don't make sense. I feel like her body shouldn't deteriorate unless she's done some weird augmentations or whatever.
Yeah. It's hard to criticize stuff like that in movies like this because we don't know how any of this works. They don't explain it. And you can't really fight it because it's just ignorance.
And also, did the bad guys not know that their drug just made your brain a super brain? Like, obviously they didn't, or else they would have more of these people. And that's also the whole thing with how they have to pad out this movie is like, of course they have to do what they do in this movie because there is no other superhuman in this movie. If she was the only one and she could easily overpower every situation, it's like Nico said, there is no tension because nobody else can match what she does.
I'm sure they were just going under the assumption that, like, well, surely if someone takes that much of it, they just die.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I do think that the pseudoscience does, like, actively hold this movie back. And usually, when you're just making up shit for a movie, it's not really a problem. But the thing is, the whole, you only use 10% of your brain, that's like a real, like, widespread but debunked fact in real life. And so basing a whole movie on it just looks silly and dumb and kind of starts you off on the wrong foot inherently.
I mean, wasn't the movie made before the debunk?
No, because I imagine that we always knew that wasn't true. It just spread around for some reason.
Because it's a wacky fact. I mean, like, we're supposed to be so smart, but we only use 10% of our brains. Is it because of the iPhone?
Yeah, it's some dumb shit. But yeah, this movie, let's see, it's got faux depth, which I already kind of touched on. It's like trying to make you think that this is a real thinker of a film, and it's just not. Yeah. And then we already talked about it. Lucy is not a character. She just isn't.
Dude, she's neurodivergent.
What I'm going to leave the audience off with is, if you want to see a better version of this general premise, go watch Upgrade. That's actually a good version of this idea.
And that's what he's picking this week.
Whoa!
Not quite. I'm ready to rank.
I don't know, this movie's just eye candy. That's basically what I call anything that has nothing but what looks good.
And what rank do you think you'd give a movie like that?
I think I gave it an A. Yeah.
All of that talk for an A. Personally, I gave it a C+, personally, which might even still be a little high. Mostly just because... Yeah, this movie doesn't have a ton going for it, but I think from, like, a first watch perspective, it could be entertaining. I've watched this movie twice, and because of that, I already knew everything that was going to happen, and that kind of takes away from it a bit. I think just from the spectacle of watching her, like, do some cool stuff, whatever, is fine. The plot is really paper thin, but it's okay. I think this is just another really inoffensive movie for the most part.
Tanner, what are you giving this one?
I'm gonna say Nico, you go.
Tanner wants to... He's got the fucking rankings pulled up right now. He's gonna average it all out.
Yeah.
I'm giving a C.
Damn, that's crazy. I am not even close to getting the three-peat. I'm giving this one a D+.
Dang.
And that puts it at a C+ overall.
Wow. Holy cow.
Dylan did it again, by the way. He said nothing but negatives, but still put in the A's anyway.
He was entertained.
He loved the movie. It reminded him of Destiny or something.
Fuck you, Nico.